do this in prime time. Under the bright lights for you on the sidelines. The fans in the stands keeping doubly pride high. The gridiron fly guys, the green and the gold, yeah, they call it the franchise. The gizmos, the miles, the moves, the Kepleys, old spaghetti legs. Ricky Ray, Willie Bless, and whoever comes next to bring back the chip and add another brick to the legacy. Cause it's double E over everything. Double E is a legacy. Double E over everything. Double E, we rising up.
For the first time since 2002, the Edmonton Elks, the Edmonton Football Club, sweeps the Calgary Stampeders in their season series. The Elks head down to McMahon Stadium, and in a close one, they beat the Calgary Stampeders 23-18. Welcome to Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports and the Green and Gold Postgame Show. Iwanyk and Jay Milne with you here live at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Thanks to everyone for tuning in on YouTube, listening live at edmontonsportstalk.com, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, or for anyone that is checking this out via podcast later on. A game where largely the Elks deserved this win, I would say. The Elks were the better team, in my opinion, for the most part of this game. It comes down late where officiating almost maybe made this one a little bit of a different postgame show. But the Elks D stands tall on a last play of the game. Calgary Stampeders at the Edmonton 5 can't get the touchdown to win this football game, and the Elks walk away with a 23-18 victory. They move to 6 wins on the season. Lots to get to on the post-game show about this game. Lots to get to when it comes to the Ponies as well. That's coming up much later. We will get to that. Jay, your thoughts on the football game? You got to breathe right now. You were really fired up before we started, as were a lot of people.
Keep your flag in your pocket. That was not pass interference. That was not even remotely close. You could call it both ways in that circumstance. Keep your flag in your pocket. What are you doing? And then the next play when they're on the 5-yard line, that was procedure by the quarterback. He was moving back before the ball was even snapped. What are these refs watching? God, if you're going to do it one way or the other. Don't blow it both ways. Terrible pass interference call. Missed. Illegal procedure. Just awful. God, these refs piss me off, man.
Reed Wilkins in the nasty chat. Awful PI call at the end. 2 guys pushing on each other. Defender shouldn't be singled out. It was one. It didn't look like the flag came out. I was waiting for the flag just because that's what I always expect. You're like, there isn't anything. And then the flag came, so we saw. And notice how he did it very quietly. Like, he didn't throw it up or anything. Just a little small one. That was a bad call. And the Elks, though, deserve to get the stop on that next play.
Yes.
Because they deserve this victory. Like, that shouldn't.
Karma came through.
100% on that one. I'm glad this game isn't tainted because of that call. No. That is a very poor call. And because it's not clear and conclusive that it's not PI, it can't be overturned.
Matt,
but that's where if you have a replay system, it should be overturned for that one. You can't tell me that that's a penalty.
You want to talk about clear and concise? The only clear and concise play there was that there's a no call.
Yeah. Well, if
the offensive player had his hand extended on Kai Gray.
I'll say this: if the flag didn't come out, there's no one saying, we should review this for a penalty.
Nobody.
No one's saying that.
Nobody.
No one
Command
is saying
Center
that.
wouldn't even done that.
So just leave it. And
for what that's worth.
But in the end, the Edmonton Elks, they go and win. And Johnny Alberta in the nasty chat, say what you will about this awful season, still deeply satisfying to beat Calgary every game.
Heck yeah.
And for the Elks fans, I think that's one way you could be pretty happy for this season, is that, with your 6 wins, you did sweep the Calgary Stampeders, who overall aren't really a good football team. Matt Schultz wasn't exactly the best today. They've got a lot of work to do. I should have started. It is the miracle at Century, Caster 1990. Were you able to get the CTV feed on the wall of screens? I was debating whether to head to Century or Yard Work, but you signed off to watch the game on Maddie's monitor, pushed me to Yard Work. Well, we were worried. Jay and I both had our laptop going with the game on because we didn't think they could. We saw them going through the guide. They hit CTV multiple times, couldn't get it on. They had to go to the pen. They called in a couple lefties. A couple guys came down. They went into the back room. On the guide, they didn't go high enough to the actual CTV that they subscribed to. So the miracle at Century did occur. We did get to watch the game. We didn't have to watch it off of Jay's and I's laptop. We had them synced. So we were good for a little bit. We had Ian here, Mike the Michigan fan, Tube Socks, Scout. We were all ready to just watch it on the laptops, but we didn't. In this game, where do you want to go to with this? Do we start overall with the whole team, or
there's only one person to start with.
Well, there's
only one.
There's one other thing we need to get to later in the show, but you want to start with Trey Ford.
You have to start with Trey Ford. He won this game. He came through late in the game, took them down the field, and scored a touchdown. I mean, you cannot deny that. He at halftime, Trey Ford was 13 of 13 for 136 yards and three rushes for 33 yards. You have to give credit where it's due. Trey Ford, you know what? The third period was forgettable. I think there was a rouge. That's it.
It was until that drive when Calgary took the lead and then they drove down the field because Justin Rankin was running so well. They had 1 point. They weren't good enough offensively.
Here's the thing. The Elks gave up 13 points in the fourth quarter, and we said, oh, boy, here we go again. This is how these games have went, where they're in control, then it starts to level, and then, woof, it goes to the other team's favor. They came back with under 4 minutes left and scored a go-ahead touchdown.
And largely because of Justin Rankin with a couple massive runs. He is an unbelievable running back. I looked at you after, and I went, like, Kevin Brown's probably not with this team next year. Possibly, like, if you're looking to save some money, I don't think you could have 3 running backs. But you might be able to keep him because you might, like, we've talked a lot about Leak this year and how good he's been. I think you could move Leak almost back to the return and just have Rankin as your main back.
You could have Rankin and Brown and sprinkle Leak in,
or you could sprinkle in
a bit of a screen
with Rankin or something like how they started the season. But I don't know if Leak's the number 1 guy for next year. I think it's Justin Rankin.
It's got to be. At that value?
He's had 400-yard games this season.
Yeah, it's impressive.
And massive runs. He had a 27. His longest ended up being 38 on that last drive. 10 carries, 140 yards. Like, the average this guy has is absolutely ridiculous. But when it comes to Trey Ford, the thing that impressed me today, beyond, like, at one point he was, like, we're watching how perfect he was. He did throw a couple picks. The second one I really didn't like. He can't just lob it over his line. He's too short, it seems. We saw it against Winnipeg.
That was a hell of a defensive play, too.
Great, sure.
He showed blitz and then sagged off.
But
waiting for that.
His accuracy was on point today.
Sure it was, man.
He was hitting his receivers in spots only they could receive that football. He was throwing it out to the flats. I know at times people say, does he have the arm? Does he have the accuracy? Today, if you go look at, 23 completions, that's, see it, Tube Socks. 23 completions on his 29 passes. Those were really good throws. Those were, that's as good of any quarterback almost in terms of his accuracy and his arm strength. And that's the quarterback. It's games like today that you look at and like, there could be a starter here. Not guaranteed, but it's games like today you look at that and go, okay, this guy might be able to do it. He had, for the most part, pretty good pocket awareness, got away a couple of times. He did another spinorama and made a good play. He rushed only 3 times for 33 yards, took a hit early. Later in the game, started sliding or getting out of bounds. That dual threat of Trey Ford was there today, and he was fantastic for the most part. The couple picks, an interception, threw for 208 yards, 23 of 29. And we didn't see Jared Deggy.
No.
They just stuck with Trey Ford this entire game. The only thing I would say is second half, the offense, led by Trey Ford, little too, foot off the gas. Would have liked to see it a little bit more
throughout the year. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I think Edmonton fans wanted to see out of Trey Ford. Can he be? I mean, the first half he was the field general. He was commanding the ball. He was putting it where it needed to go, and they went into half with a 16-5 lead. I mean, that's all you can ask for. Mm-hmm. That's great. Defense held up. Defense played well. Mind you, Calgary's offense is bad. It's tough. It's tough for sure. But hey, at the end of the day, who cares? It's a W, and Trey Ford got the job done. That was the glimmer of hope that you needed to see in order to say, okay, there's something here, right? Now, at the same time as you can say that, you can also point to the fact that he struggled mightily against better teams.
Yep.
So, to be determined. But it's now, that's a positive, right?
Yes.
You can't look at this and say, wow, screw Trey Ford. We can't have him around. No. This gives you something to build on. Not next week, they're on a bye, but the following week against Toronto.
That game could actually mean something for Toronto. I was just looking it up because they beat Winnipeg yesterday. They clinched their playoff spot, but they sit 1 point up on Ottawa, who gets Montreal this week. The two teams play next week. If Ottawa finds a way to snag that win against Toronto next week, Ottawa gets Hamilton, Toronto gets Edmonton on that Friday. Toronto might be playing for the home playoff date on the semifinals. That could actually mean something for the Argos.
Well, then,
if you're the Edmonton Elks, you are praying that means something for the Toronto Argonauts.
Yes,
you are praying that game means something so that you could bring out your team.
Spoil,
but also you get to evaluate this team in a meaningful football game.
Yeah.
It may not be fully meaningful in the standings. Well, it's not meaningful in the standings for the Edmonton Elks. It'll be meaningful, for this guy over here and some other people like VR Montenegro, as you guys look for win number 7. But
I don't believe that it needs to be that, but I get it.
No, I know, but if it's...
You're thinking of the detractors.
I'm thinking just even as whoever the next general manager is of this team.
Yeah.
You go out there, you just said it hasn't gone well against some top teams. Okay, if Toronto is playing for a home playoff date, Toronto's a top team.
Yep.
If you go and you could perform against them, okay, now it helps you a little bit more, I think, if you're whoever the next GM is of this team, as you're trying to evaluate what you're going to do with the quarterbacking situation of this team going into next year, you might feel a little more confident being like, okay, Trey will be this guy. Maybe you feel confident and he'll be this, if you could sign him, he could be the starter for 2025 and you go get a solid backup. If he doesn't play well, maybe it's okay if we bring Trey back. It's a full open competition. We're going to bring in a veteran. We're going to bring in Trey and go, who's better through preseason type thing. That's where I feel like that game, if it's a meaningful one, could give them a little just better tape of evaluating Trey Ford. And other players. Like, it's not just on Trey Ford. And other players. Your thoughts, 780-218-9999. That is the Paris Jewelers inbox, or you can jump in to the nasty chat.
Well, and just a little thing about a player like Rankin. Mm-hmm. As important as Trey Ford was and as well as he played on that drive, like you said, Matty, Rankin was as much of a part of that.
Yeah.
3:27 left when that drive started, ripped off a 38-yard gain. Under 2 minutes left, rips off another 15-yard gain, stays in bounds, right? So that clock starts on the whistle. I just love what he's doing, and he's a load to handle. Really.
Well, so that drive, he rushed for 7 yards, he rushed for 38 yards, he rushed for a yard. He rushed for 15 yards. He rushed for 2 yards. And then Trey Ford. And that's, I think Reed in the Paris Jeweler, or in the Nasty Chat, he jumped into, where was it? Trey Ford was very good. Thought he made a great play on the game-winning touchdown. Yeah. Rankin has been excellent. Hope he is back next season. And I would assume Rankin is back because he's a rookie, so I'm assuming there's a couple-year deal on Justin Rankin. But on that Trey, he stepped up. I was like, oh, no, because I thought he was going to go take a hit trying to run in.
No, but he drew up the linebackers.
He drew up the linebacker, then hit Lewis for the touchdown. It was an excellent touchdown throw. That drive was led by Justin Rankin, but Trey Ford put the cherry on top of that Sunday.
And a pretty big tackle on that 2-point conversion that he threw interception to. If that goes the other way, that's a different...
We're talking about a 3-point ball game at that
field
point.
Goal, right?
And they were in a position to tie that football game.
And you got Rene Paredes, who's probably one of the best to ever do it, kicking it. So.
We got a little worried, not going to lie, where was that play on that drive where we're like, oh boy, BD's going to come out for this kick, isn't he?
Oh, on the scoring drive, when they could have kicked the field goal.
I'm just trying to see where it was.
It was
2nd and 9.
Yeah.
And then Trey Ford hit Gittins for an 8-yard pass, and he was just shy, but we're like, oh boy, this is going to be Boris Beatty coming out, isn't it?
No, and even...
We didn't have confidence in that one.
It was at the 30-some-yard line, and we're both like, don't even think of kicking it. Go for it.
They got to the 32. It was 3rd and 1, and they was like, got to go for it. You can't trust Boris Beatty on that situation. Which...
Good thing they didn't. I mean, if you have a guy like Paredes, do you go for that? And make it...
Yes.
Because it was 18-17 Calgary at the time. It would be 20-18 for Edmonton.
Do you know why you go for it? It's because this game for playoffs means nothing.
And who said that?
That was Tube Socks.
Great point by Tube Socks. He's like, what do you got to lose?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I got a future here.
Yeah, you had stuff to lose. But no, for Jarius, on a 1, like, yeah, if it was 3rd and 3 or something, I could see why you'd kick a field goal or something.
Yeah.
But 3rd and 1, yeah, Tube Socks was like, what do you have to lose? And,
No, it was a
and
great
he was
point.
absolutely correct on that one. The Shotgun Sports Network scout who was here, typical third quarter of the last 3 years, the drama would have win. And yeah, they have been a struggling scoring team when it comes to the third quarter. And that happened once again.
Hey, they got 1 point.
They got 1 point.
And
They
Calgary
love
didn't
those
get-
singles. They love those singles.
There was 3 Rouges today. I wonder if Edmonton broke the Rouge record per season.
I would love to know what that was.
Like, there's got to be a way to find out because they got to be tapping on that record book.
Matt Iwanyk, Jay Milne with you. Green and Gold post-game show. Elks beating the Stamps 23-18. We're dissecting this. Just a reminder, coming up at 7 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, we do have the Oil Stream, UCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Zola, Hernan Salas, and Sean Bell as they'll get you set for the Oilers and the Blackhawks. That Dusty's EST parlay is still alive then. There was only 3 parts to it. It was McDavid 2 points, Oilers beating the Blackhawks tonight, and the Elks beating the Stamps. So first is a check.
First leg's done.
My cool bet prop of the game was anytime Eugene Lewis touchdown. Well, he hit 2 of those, but that would have cashed.
Well,
Just
and even
thought I would
talking about that first touchdown that Eugene Lewis scored on the end around, a little trickery.
Great play.
That was fantastic.
Great
that
blocking.
Defense had no idea what was going on. He could have literally walked that in.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see that. So, this is a great call it. I put out a tweet at halftime. I said, call this game meaningless. Call it whatever you want. That was a bonkers first half for Trey Ford in that offense. One that I'm not sure will 13 of 13 for 136 yards.
It was just very methodical.
That doesn't happen
It was
often.
just...
And
it wasn't explosive. Like, they didn't put up 35 points.
Trey's longest
it wasn't
pass
also
was
bad.
21 yards, Matty.
Yeah, and it was just efficient.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
efficient today.
Yes.
That's all they were, just
Yep.
moving down. And in the end, like, I'm just trying. If this had been a loss by the Elks, I would have been upset that they took the foot off the gas in the second half. That would have been the big thing I would have been upset by. But the defense played well today. They gave up 18 points.
Well, Deacon St. John in the nasty chat said, "Can you imagine if Calgary had scored on that last play?"
Well,
and I can't imagine, and I would have.
We would have been after the refs.
It would have been a different post game because I was hot. We're standing up here. Nobody agrees that keep your flag in.
Yep.
And then even like that's laughable. Stripes. That is laughable. The play after you make a stupid call, an absolutely unnecessary call at a pivotal point in the game. Keep your flag in your pocket, and then the next play. Calgary's Schultz. I could never get it.
Who ran the ball quite well today.
Yeah, he was effective with his legs.
He was the leading rusher for the Stamps.
He is moving before the ball snapped. That's procedure in any league. Nope, nothing to see here. We were both saying, I'm surprised they didn't throw a penalty on the coverage on an incomplete ball, by the way. It was uncatchable. That's the referee's signal for uncatchable.
On which play?
The last play.
The last one. Yeah, I just was expecting more penalties. And, somebody in the nasty chat, I missed it. Or is it in the Paris Jewelers inbox? Was relating it to like Casey. I'm like, they got the Casey style call.
Well, it's like
it was just a bad call.
Just leave it in your pocket,
yes.
Man.
But where I was going is, like, this was a decent, like a well played football game for the most part for the Elks. That had they lost, like I don't know where I would have went with the anger as much. Like, defense, again, it played rather well. As I said, I think it would have been the offense just took the foot off the gas in the third quarter. But they did what they needed to do today to go get the victory against the Calgary Stampeders.
You would have made a bigger point about the lack of energy and emotion in the third quarter.
Sure.
And the fact that you're playing Calgary. So they did look pretty rough.
But Montreal tied this team.
If you
Montreal tied the Calgary Stampeders this year. The Elks got the sweep with 10 interceptions in those 3 games.
Crazy. So 2 Elks players. Anderson finished with 7 tackles.
So that puts him at 101.
101. And Niles Morgan Finished with 5, so that puts him at 102.
But Nick Anderson did it before Niles Morgan.
Which is crazy because he came in with 94 tackles. Yeah. But, I mean, with one game left,
Morgan
you've got
was 97.
Players. With one game left, you've got 2 players that are already in the hundreds.
Yep.
2 players.
And how many in the history of the Elks? There was, you had 2 more prior?
J.C. Sherritt.
3 prior.
I don't know if you've heard of these names. J.C. Sherritt.
Yep.
Dan Bass. You ever heard of him? And number 39, my killer in the middle, Willie Pless.
2 of those 3 are on the wall, if I'm not mistaken.
So, quite an achievement.
Absolutely.
I mean, Nick Anderson is by far your defensive, your rookie. Is he league-wide rookie of the year?
Terrell Ford. Is he a rookie? I don't know if he is a rookie. I don't think he's a rookie.
How could he be
he's not
a rookie?
Yeah, because he's Trey.
He's Trey's twin.
So it's not him. I don't know. I'd have to look a little closer.
No, it's not anybody.
I'm not used to rookies around the league. So I'd have to see who it is. Niles Morgan probably won't be the defensive nominee for the West, though. I think that will be Roland Milligan. No, he's not a rookie. Vladic.
No, I know.
But yeah, in the end, the Edmonton Elks, they get it done, and it's nice. Like last year, the Elks had a nice run where they were winning football games, and then they ended the season, I believe, with 4 straight losses. This year, the Elks, they had the nice run. They won 5 of 6. They then lose 3 straight. It's nice. I don't know what's going to happen in that Toronto game right now, but it's nice, I think, for Elks fans that there's another win to have this season. And that's 6 wins this season as opposed to 4 last year and 4 the year prior. So looking towards 25, I just think overall fans are just in a little bit of a better spot. And with this, the Elks will not be finishing last in the CFL West, right? Like they've locked in their spot, I would think. No, they need 1 more point, or Calgary needs to lose 1 more point.
Right.
But there's a really good chance they won't be 4th in the West or 5th in the West.
Yeah, if Calgary wins and Edmonton loses, then Edmonton's last.
Yeah, and so Calgary has to win out. And they've got Hamilton next week, and then they got Saskatchewan in the last week. Edmonton's got Toronto. They just need 1 winner there. But just even that, I know some people might not be happy about that's not really anything to celebrate or anything, and it's not really celebrate, but it's an improvement.
It's something, man.
It's something, a step forward that this franchise really hasn't had in how long?
The last 2 years, they've had 4 wins. This team now has 6.
Yeah.
That's an improvement, people.
It's a big improvement.
It's not the improvement you may have wanted, but it's an improvement.
It's the improvement. Now, does this change your thought process from the kickoff show to now about Jerry's being a prospective head coach of this team?
No.
Okay. Tube Socks does jump into the Paris Jewelers inbox. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I have 2 questions. Can you name any other CFL team where Jairus Jackson would be the head coach? Can you name any other CFL team where Jerry Simon would be the GM? I'll hang up and listen. I don't think Jairus does get a head coaching job anywhere else.
Jairus could maybe come back here as the offensive coordinator.
I could see him just walking.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I don't think he'd want to be part. Like, here's the thing. You said it. He wouldn't be if he's back. Trey's not back.
As a head coach.
Do you think that would be the same as OC? Because I think it would be.
No, because ultimately that decision is made by the head coach.
G-Roy, I could see being a GM somewhere else.
Yeah.
What other names are there for a general manager job? That's the thing. It's Danny McManus, I think, is the big one. That's kind of out there.
What has G-Roy done terribly wrong? Is he pulling the strings here more? Because we don't know. We don't know who's ultimately making these decisions.
Can I point to a couple decisions G-Roy has made?
Yep.
He made a couple of deletions from the roster once he took over this team, including Kem Diche, which was big for the room by all accounts. Mm-hmm. He's also the one that signed Justin Rankin. He was on the practice roster with Chris Jones. Chris Jones released him, he was on at training camp. Chris Jones released him, didn't sign him. Early on in G-Roy's tenure as the interim, he signed Justin Rankin back to this team.
Well, there you go. 2 for 2. Right?
When was that? July 21st. When was Chris Jones fired? Chris Jones was fired on July 15th. They signed Rankin on July 21st. So within a week, one of the very first moves G-Roy made was to bring in Justin Rankin. And that has, I don't know if the Elks get to 6 wins without Justin Rankin. I really don't. So I could see G-Roy, so to Tube Sock's question, I could see G-Roy possibly being in consideration for a GM job if other ones are open this offseason. I don't see Jarius. Also, I don't know what other jobs would be open up this offseason. BC's not changing, I don't believe. Sask isn't changing. Winnipeg's not changing. Hamilton's not changing, I don't believe. Toronto won't change. Ottawa won't change, and Montreal's not changing. Maybe Calgary, but if it's Calgary, here's the Mark Killam's the one name. Do you know who we're forgetting for Calgary too?
His brother?
Yeah. Craig. He's on as an advisor or something with him.
He said he wants to be a head coach again in a recent
As he
interview.
should?
Yeah.
Now, like, if Dave goes, or if there's any pressure for him no longer to be head coach, he goes to GM, who's he going to hire? Is it Mark Killam or is it going to be Craig?
As head coach?
As a head coach. Craig's got the experience as a head coach.
Dave Dickinson's not leaving Calgary.
But if he's the GM, who's he hiring as a head coach? Is it Craig, his brother, or is it Mark Killam, his assistant head coach? So it's also not going to be anyone outside the organization. That's internal, in my mind at least.
This person must have been listening to Hello Hockey, like the late or something, or after it was live. Love listening to the delusional jackasses up north talk about how bad the Blackhawks are after the Coilers got absolutely snot-bubbled 6-0 last game. Maybe they'll dig in because they're just not good enough. What a bunch of zeros. Should I respond to him?
That comes from a Calgary area code, too.
Yeah, I can say, hey, have a great Saturday. Enjoy the Stamps game. I'm going to say that.
Hernan. Nanso in the nasty chat. Second half, Trey just overthrew Mitchell for a big game, and Jones drops an absolute dime from Trey for big yards, a game of inches. That Tevin Jones one. We were wondering if maybe the defender tipped it or anything. It looked like it just bounced off the shoulder. He needed to catch that one, but I will say Trey was throwing dimes out there today. He was, he was on point with his accuracy, and that's the thing I really am happy to see. Is that today he stayed in his pocket. He was trying to be a pocket quarterback, and then when he was making his throws, he had the accuracy and he had the strength.
I'll just say this. I'm not a big fan of all these rainbow passes that he's floating over people's heads because those are on broken plays. Those aren't sustainable. Those are when he's getting – and I mean, I guess it is the Trey Ford difference. Okay? So I'll agree with you on that. But
those weren't – he made a lot of throws to the outsides.
Yeah.
That were just right to his receiver.
Yeah, for sure. But, at the same pace, if McLeod Bethel-Thompson's making those throws, everybody's like, why aren't they pushing the ball down the field? Right?
Well, yeah, we can make that part, but we wouldn't be saying his accuracy and his arm's not there.
No.
Today, I think today we saw it was CFL-level accuracy and strength when it came to his throws.
Yeah.
Now, some of the decision-making, some of those throws maybe were, not sustainable. But on the other ones, he did something that any other, maybe we shouldn't be praising Trey for doing something that every other quarterback in this league kind of does. But that is also a knock on Trey that he doesn't have that arm strength or he doesn't have the accuracy. Today, I think he showed once again that he actually has that, and as long as he could keep developing that, he'd be a pretty solid quarterback possibly in the Canadian Football League. I don't know what this changes when it comes to his future. I don't know if it's now a given, if you're the Elks, you're like, we 100% have to sign this guy. That I'm fascinated by. But again, as we said on the kickoff show, what does Larry want? It's always what does Larry want. I need to quickly talk about something that's not football.
What?
We had a day with the Ponies.
Woo-wee.
We were all over the Grays. And until the very end, we got a little greedy with a couple Grays.
I've been keeping a side eye out.
They were hitting. They were hitting. At one point, it was just we'd see a Gray. Jay and I immediately up bet. Except there was 2 mistakes today. I saw a Gray. I told Jay about it. We went and bet it. We cheered it on. It won. It was in the 8th race, horse 4. I look at my ticket, 8th race. I picked horse 8 for some reason. So Jay got the win. I didn't. I was supposed to bet that one. And then in another race, we bet the Gray. we're cheering it on. It comes middle of the pack. We're like, crap. And then we're like, didn't we bet the 3-horse? And we're like, yeah, it was the 3-horse. We bet the wrong horse, or we picked the wrong horse. So we ended up actually winning the race because we bet on the winning horse, but we didn't mean to bet on that horse.
When they come out of the paddock and they're just walking around,
it can be hard.
Different colors of sashes that they wear, which is the same number that's on the screen for their bet. So we're looking at a race right now that has a 3 that's a dark blue and a 9 that's a baby blue. Well, we saw the 3 and said, oh, that's the blue one. So thankfully, we ended up betting on the right blue one, and we won by complete fluke.
Yeah. We were both not happy. And they were like, did we bet 3? And I was like, yeah. And that's the 3. I'm like, no, that can't be the 3.
How come it's not gray? I had a nice exactor today.
You did?
And it was a double gray exactor.
We saw a race. I think we saw the 1 gray. We came up, bet it, and then one of us looked and we're like, the 11's also gray. It was a good day with the grays. It was a very good day with the grays.
It was a very good day with the grays.
JL, I'm not answering that question.
What one?
I'm not answering it.
Oh.
I'm leaving that one. Nothing against you, JL. It's against who you're asking about.
Can I answer
not going to that one. Do whatever you want. I'm not answering it.
Matt's a little sensitive about this right now because he's worried. And
I'm angry.
I don't...
I'm going to say bye.
Well, I'm worried.
I'm not.
Because I don't know if Sandy's with us anymore.
He's not with us at Century. I can tell you that much.
I can guarantee he ain't with us.
We haven't seen him since pre-Labor Day.
No, it's
I'm not talking about it.
Okay.
I'm not. No, you can. I'm not. I'm not talking about it.
Sensitive about it.
I am very sensitive. But, I saw a gray.
Which one?
I don't know. I saw it at Century Downs.
Well, it's got to be the 2.
It might be. Keep an eye on that.
I'm going to locked in, Maddie. It's got to be the 2.
We'll keep an eye on that one. I think I saw gray in that one. This is the Green and Gold post-game show. Matt Iwanyk, Jay Milne with you here. Let's go through the stats of this game. I haven't done that yet. Trey Ford, 23 of 29. He was perfect through half, the first half. What did he get to? Is it 18 of 18? I think he got
17 of 17.
17 of 17.
And then he threw it in completion.
23 of 29, 208 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He rushed the ball 3 times for 33 yards. Justin Rankin, 10 carries for 140 yards. Javon Leake, 5 carries, only managing 12 yards. Geno Lewis, 1 carry for 15 yards. He got a touchdown on that one. Geno also catching the ball 6 times for 46 yards and a touchdown. Tevin Jones, 6 catches for 76 yards. Somebody did ask if G-Roy signed Tevin Jones. No, that was Chris Jones signed him. I'm trying to remember when he got elevated to the active roster. That might have been G-Roy, but Chris Jones brought him to the team. Dylan Mitchell, 4 catches for 30 yards. Leake had also 4 catches for 23 yards. Gittins, 2 catches for 28 yards. And Mathis, only 1 catch for 5 yards. Nick Anderson leading the way with 7 defensive tackles. They also had a special teams tackle and a sack. Derek Moncrief, 6 tackles and 2 sacks in this one. Niles Morgan with 5 tackles. So Anderson and Morgan are both now... Was it?
It's a 2 and it's a long shot. It's
only 15-1.
It's a long shot. These are the horses dreams are made of, Maddie.
Are you going?
Yeah.
Okay, just hold on a second. Because while I continue the stats, just give me win, play, show. Whatever, that's a minimum. Sorry, we're now gonna see what happens with this latest gray. Niles Morgan and Nick Anderson both now over 100 tackles on the season. Boris Beatty didn't have to attempt a field goal today. He was perfect though from extra points at 2 for 2. Yeah. Win play show. Matt Schultz, 18 of 33, 215 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Schultz led the way rushing, 5 carries for 64 yards. Dedrick Mills, 7 attempts for 36 yards. Receiving-wise, Reggie Bagleton, 5 catches for 79 yards. Jalen Philpott, 4 catches for 28 yards and a touchdown. Marky Michelle, 3 catches for 42 yards. Richardson leaving the way tackles with a 7 for the Stampeders. Rene Paredes, 1-for-1 field goal, 21-yard field goal he made, as well as just a single extra point. VR, go bet on it, meow. We're there. It's happening. Jay's getting whatever he needs to get done. We'll jump back into Shotgun Sports. What he said, the day is ours, Elks fans. ABC, where's the guy that said you can't hate on rival teams? Today's still a great day, signed the Elks Herd. Mathis is taller than me and you combined, and I don't even know how tall you are. That's saying something from Jenna Tills. He had a great game last week. Didn't see much this week. It's nothing against him, but I want to see a lot from him because the Elks don't have a first-round pick this year. Thankfully, it shouldn't be the first overall pick at least, but they don't have that first-round pick because of Mathis and because of Chris Jones selecting Mathis. This bye week, it seems weird.
Yeah, second last week.
The last 2 years, though, they've had it the last game of the season, which was probably really nice.
Jed Roberts gets so pissed off about all these bye weeks.
They need a 10th team.
Yeah.
It balances things out, and I think they could go back to just two. Would they do 2 bye weeks, or they go back to 1?
Or they go back to 1 bye week.
I think it might be 1 bye week, but they just need to balance out the schedule, and they can't do it with all of this. I'll be intrigued to see what type of team the Elks go with for that last one, because are there other younger players you might look at? Does MBT dress against his former team, or is MBT done with the Edmonton Elks in terms of being an active player? That is going to be something to watch. But this team gets to go to into the bye week feeling pretty good about themselves. You want to get to the texter?
Well, the guy that said, "What a bunch of zeros up north," I replied to him and I said, "Have a great Saturday. Thanks for listening." And he got back and said, "Great response. Well done," with a thumbs up. He gets it.
It's all in good fun.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
And you could also say you hate teams still, but also have good fun with it. Sports is about hating other teams too.
But I mean, if you look at time of possession, it was this was one of the ones that we haven't seen that much of, which gives, a lot of, I guess, purpose to your statement about how he was controlling the game. See ya, Mike, the Michigan fan. 33 minutes to 26 minutes. That's one of the biggest spreads we've seen this year.
33 and a half to 26 and a half.
Yeah. Also known as 33 to
23.
26.
Yeah, but I would have went with the half because it bumps Edmonton up a little higher to 33 and a half.
Calgary is the same half, if not more.
Yeah, but it sounds better saying they 33 and a half.
33 to 26 sounds exactly like 33 and a half.
But they had more time offensively.
You realize
you shorted them 30 seconds.
And I shorted Calgary to 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want to short the Elks offense 30 seconds. I want to give them
anybody but Calgary.
Seconds. Yeah, I'm giving it to the Elks. I love this. Okay, but look at the CFL stats. The total turnovers 1 for Edmonton.
Yeah.
They had 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I know. But then you look at
right. They had 2 interceptions. Trey's listed as 2 interceptions. He had that little floater that was picked. Was there another one?
Was the safety a turnover? No.
No, did Trey have 2 interceptions today now?
They're saying 2 interceptions here.
Yeah, but what was the second one? Trey was intercepted there. Trey was only intercepted once then. So I was saying 2. So why so this is something he's listed as 2 interceptions, but it's only 1.
Yeah, it was one where he floated it over the top.
Yeah, okay. Well,
thanks, CFL stats.
Why, when I said it earlier, he had 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. I was thinking, I thought I missed it.
Like,
did I miss that second one? But there's a chance I could have missed it because we were kind of looking at the Grays all day as well. So, no. So, okay, he only had 1 interception, so they only had 1 turnover. Penalties, though. Like, both teams took penalties today.
Yeah.
But because they both took them, it didn't hurt anyone.
Maybe that's why they're not in the playoffs.
Both teams?
Yeah.
Well, one of them shouldn't have counted.
20 combined.
Should be 10 for Edmonton.
Yeah. Serenity now.
Should be 10. Our race is about to be underway. We'll give you an update.
Century Downs is about to kick off.
That's in Calgary. Edmonton's going to take advantage of Calgary again.
I didn't even think of this.
We've already had some good things when it comes to Century Downs, at least earlier today. Adam asked, wonder if they would do anything to keep Jason Shivers around. Does he get a head coaching interview? I'm really high on Jason Shivers one day being a head coach in this league.
What would make you be high on that?
I really liked prior to last season, I liked what I saw from his defenses. But I haven't seen enough through the second half of last year and this year to be he's a guy I would give fully head coaching job to. I think he's got to show a little bit more.
Well, that secondary is awfully young.
Yeah. And they
Right?
played well today.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's enough. Like, part of it, I don't know what goes into the conversations when it comes to head coaching, and maybe he'd interview well, and you would look at him and give it to him.
This 2-point conversion was intercepted.
Yeah, that's not an interception.
Well, it is.
Not in stats. It shouldn't be. It's not an interception.
They're counting it as.
I know, but it doesn't. That shouldn't be. Like, even if you go in the game, thank you to Matt Hyman for pointing that out. If you go through the playlist, if you go play by play, it does not list it as like an interception.
This is a long race.
Well, it's a quarter mile,
No.
or I don't know what that says. What number are we on even?
Race 9.
No, we're on 2.
We're on 2.
Of course, it's race 9.
2's looking good. I think the
It's a
pace
long
is a
ways.
little fast.
It's a long race. A little worried here.
I'm a little worried here, too.
I'm always going to be a little worried. I'm always a little worried. We don't have to worry about the Elks, though, for today because they got that victory. Actually,
2's falling off.
Can I get a little mad at someone else here?
2's falling off bad.
Can I get a little mad at someone else
Oh,
here?
no.
Yeah, he's just saving himself for the last stretch.
No, he's dead. He got shot.
How many times did we not get replays today?
Oh, my gosh. Look at this horse. Matt, I think he pulled something. What happened to 2?
Oh, it's not even close.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Is he hurt?
I was picking it up again. Where is it?
The back. You see the one at the back out of the camera?
Okay, those. Yeah. Well, there goes $6.
TSN's broadcast was...
it was the safety that the Elks gave up early. Didn't see a replay. Didn't see a replay where there was a perfectly timed, it looked like, sack by the Edmonton Elks that Matt Schultz was upset thinking it was offside. We didn't get a replay. It took forever to get a replay on the 2-point conversion that the Elks didn't get. There was a lot of times tonight we didn't get replays. I wasn't happy about that.
No.
Mike, the Michigan fan, wasn't happy about that. Ian wasn't happy about that. I don't know if I talked about it with Tube Socks. I'm just going to throw Tube Socks in this mix. He wasn't happy about that.
Well, and you know what was interesting is on that, like, I think Nick Anderson should have been penalized for a late hit.
And I don't think we saw another replay of that one either.
But we didn't see a replay of it. Well, we didn't see a replay from the sideline. We saw 4 from, like, where Dustin sits.
Yeah.
Remember them showing the PI from the press box? What are we doing? So anyways, the replays and
It was bad.
It was noticeably bad.
It was like, that's just show us the replays right after a play, and also show us the logical replays. Like when it is a PI, show us the nice tight shot of the PI. Just Jay having a conversation there, just helping someone else out, I guess.
Are you broadcasting?
Well, we have headsets on, of course.
Yeah, we are. What game? The Elks game. They won.
Well, we were doing.
I know.
We were doing race 9 at Century Mile or at Century Downs. That's what we were on. Matt Hyman, if it was successfully converted, would it be counted as a completion? Genuine question. No, the 2-point conversion is not counted as a completion. I don't believe. That's why, because it's a separate.
Because it's a dead play, right?
Yes, that's where it shouldn't be an interception, and that's why, like, actually, and here's the.
It's not a timed play.
When you look at total turnovers by the team today, it was 1. But so why is Trey Ford and Matthew Schultz both being listed with an interception when it's not counted as a turnover for either team?
I bet you they'll adjust that tomorrow.
No, because I bet if I go to week 1, do you remember when Javon Leake fumbled in week 1 against Saskatchewan?
That was a weird one, and then they gave it to Kevin Brown.
Yeah, I bet they still have it for Kevin Brown. I guarantee you it's still under Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown, rush, fumbled by Kevin Brown.
Yeah, that was weird.
They haven't gone and fixed that one, so no, this one won't get fixed at all. The Edmonton Elks, they beat the Stamps 23-18. When it comes to this team now, like I don't know what else to analyze. Like what could change in a game against Toronto for any fan out there looking towards 2025? Is there anything?
Confidence.
Yeah?
Yes. 100%. It's still a football game, and it looks like it could be, even if it's meaningless, it's not meaningless.
Well, let's say Trey Ford goes out there and doesn't play well. What does that do for the conversation?
Lowers your confidence.
Yeah, but and then it's played well here.
Yeah.
Would you play a little more Jared Daggy in that last game?
No.
Would you go Trey Ford knowing
maybe? I guess maybe, Matt.
Because if what you saw from him today, here's what I'll say: if Trey Ford he played well today, if he plays well through another half next week, do you sit there and go, you want to know something? We're going to go to Jared Daggy and see what we got with Jared Daggy, no matter what the score is. But if he's playing poor, you go, let's see if he can work out of this. Let's see if he could play himself out of this.
When was Jared Daggy signed?
He was here last year.
He was?
Yeah. Because he started a game last year. He was excellent through training camp. He actually was the number one guy ahead of Trey Ford through part of last season, partly because of how good he did look in training camp. By all reports, he was fantastic in training camp. Deacon St. John, who's the starting quarterback next week? I'm assuming meaning the next Elks game, which will be in 2 weeks. It has to be Trey Ford.
100%.
There's no reason to play MBT.
No.
Even if you have an idea of, let's say you want to bring back MBT, you know what he is.
Yeah.
You know what he is.
No.
So you're still trying to figure out what Trey Ford is, but that's my, if he does well through a half, do you try to see what Jared Daggy is?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you give the ball to Trey to see if he can come out and do what he did today. But, still want to see more of that killer instinct, Matty. They were at the half 16-5. That's for a guy that went 13 for 13. 16-5. I'd like to see that score be more like 21-5.
Yeah, really, we shouldn't have been watching a football game that was almost decided by a officiating call.
That's right.
It shouldn't have been competitive.
No.
We should have had a game where we're talking about, okay, the Elks just continued to take care of business, and they won this football game 27-15. They gave up one more field goal or whatever it was, but they just kept it away, and they didn't allow Calgary to get him in the mix. And really, if it wasn't for one of those interceptions, Calgary doesn't score a couple of their points.
That's right.
They were put in primo field position for that. So that, I guess that would be the thing. You want that killer instinct. This is a team that just hasn't been strong when it comes to third quarters. I'm trying to see if I could quickly find the stats for the third quarters. I'd have to go through my emails for that one. Ian, in the nasty chat, you give him at least a quarter. Need to see if he could be a backup soon. And I'm assuming he's talking about Jared Daggy. Yeah, but the thing is, I would not be a fan of Trey Ford and Jared Daggy 1-2 tandem for next year. Personally.
Why?
If Trey's my starting quarterback, I would like a somewhat a veteran behind him. I don't want such a young guy. I don't want an MBT who's I don't want to say overpaid, but higher priced. He is the de facto starter. I use this as the example. I would have loved to have seen a Dane Evans this year as a backup. He's a good backup. If you needed him, he could go out there. If Trey got injured, I wouldn't trust Jared Daggy to save the Elks season. If Trey is struggling, I would like another veteran guy to help him work through that or talk him through that. Jared Daggy's not that guy. To me, if you're going with Trey Ford, who is not still a fully proven starting quarterback in the Canadian Football League, has never been given the reins going into camp and for the start of a season, I would like someone behind him to help him through that process.
I wonder who shakes free from Calgary, quarterback-wise.
Logan Bonner.
Yeah, I guess. He's gone. Schultz is not bad. I think his O-line was
Would you keep Schultz or would you keep Jake Mayer?
Jake Mayer.
Then it's going to be Mayer. It's going to be P.J. Walker. It's going to be...
I don't think P.J. Walker's here.
Tommy Stevens.
I don't think P.J. Walker's here.
He'll be here at training camp next year.
You think so?
Yep. I do.
Why would they bring him in for the last 2 weeks of the season then?
To get him on the roster. To have him. Because they actually... The thing that a lot of people didn't notice... the Stampeders actually had to trade for his negotiation rights from the Argos. They gave up 2 Neglis players for the one. That's part of the problem when it comes to the CFL being clouded in secrecy with the Neglis.
It's like a cult.
Well, this was a trade that no one knew about, and then all of a sudden they signed P.J. Walker, and the news comes out, there was actually this trade that happened. I'm 0 for 3 in the last 3. That's got 4. I can't do that one. If one wins, I'll be disappointed. Oh, it's a 4-1 favorite right now. But where was I going with PJ? So the negless, we didn't know about that. But why would you give up 2 negless players if you didn't want to try to bring him in next year? I'll say this: the Stamps have 2 more games. I think PJ Walker's in one of those.
You think so?
Why would you bring him up and not even just play him?
I was surprised he wasn't even on the depth chart today. He wasn't even dressed.
Maybe just too soon.
Yeah. He was practicing all week, though.
But he's also coming to a league like the CFL game. He doesn't know the CFL game, and maybe a little bit more time to understand what the CFL game is.
That's fair.
That would be the other thing I would look at. So
how'd that guy get back there?
What?
Did he walk around and through the kitchen? He just came up and waved at me.
Yeah.
2 minutes, like a minute
Well, you can
ago.
walk around. There's a walk path over there to get you to the other side.
You can walk through that? That's not just for staff?
I think that's just an open area.
I don't think so.
I absolutely do think it's so.
Thought I was traveling back in time. Reed's got me talking time travel on our show, and I thought maybe he sucked me into a time travel vortex.
Deacon St. John, maybe MBT will go to Calgary next year. Well, that's it. Where does VA go? Is going to be the big question that's going to cloud the entire free agents market for the quarterbacks. Even if Trey Ford hits free agency, it's not about Trey.
No.
It's about VA. VA is going to be the guy. It's what's happening with VA. I don't know if he's a free agent or if BC would have to trade him, but that's the thing that's going to cloud everything. And then for MBT, yeah, if you're MBT, I don't think you want to go to Calgary because they're not ready to win, I don't think. And if you're Calgary, I don't think you want MBT because you're not ready to win. You're trying to develop a quarterback long term.
Who's looking for quarterbacks right now? Hamilton, Calgary, Edmonton?
Is Hamilton going to be, though?
Yeah, they might.
That's the question with
if
Bo.
you're going to rank them, I'd say Calgary's looking for a quarterback. Edmonton is potentially
They have to decide their quarterback. Edmonton has to decide it.
Well, you're not going to decide that till training camp next year.
I know, but you have to decide where you're going to go with it. Like, as of right now, who are the quarterbacks at Edmonton Elks training camp that you feel like are going to be here right now? There isn't one. MBT's not signed. Trey Ford's not signed. There is no definitive, we know who's going to be in camp next year. Calgary, we have an idea who could be there, but they need to figure that out. BC's going with Nathan Rourke. Saskatchewan is likely probably going to stick with Trevor Harris and Shea Patterson.
Yeah.
Winnipeg, they're going to have at least one more year of Zach. The question would be, are they ready to maybe create that succession plan? Toronto's going with Chad Kelly. I don't think Ottawa's ready to move on from Drew Brown after 1 year. They're going to the playoffs. They also got Jeremiah Mazzoli. Montreal's got Davis Alexander and Cody Fajardo. What happens with Davis Alexander is going to be the question. But when it comes to Hamilton, Bo was in the conversation up until a couple weeks ago for MOP.
Yeah, but then there's the Trevor Harris that Adam, brought up in the nasty chat. Is Trevor Harris somebody you're going out to say, hey, we're ready, we just need a quarterback?
I think he stays in Saskatchewan. Why would you move on from him if you're Saskatchewan?
Well,
you're not ready to go to Shea Patterson unless you're bringing in VA. Bo is the leader passer and touchdowns.
Oh, I know.
MBT second in touchdowns and third.
Yeah.
Jake Mears 4 and 3. But that also goes to the injuries of the quarterbacks this year.
If MBT will take a pay cut and come back for about half of what he's getting paid, maybe more, then sure. Why wouldn't you want to keep him around?
He's coming back.
Oh, man, we are.
How does I don't think he wants to do that. Just because of the discussion that has happened where wife is a high-up studio exec somewhere, I believe. If he's playing football, I don't think he's going to play for just the love of the game as a backup, personally. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Did a lot today, though, to, I think, help his case moving forward. He got the Reed Wilkins and Jay Milne bump.
100%.
I think we have to discuss that a little bit right now. That he joined Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage this year, who have actually done a great job of bumping. They've had Nick Anderson. They got a nice bump. They've had a few other players who got a nice bump. Trey Ford did not get the ESD afternoon bumps this year. He's
just coming on the wrong show.
He can't. Well, for that one, he didn't do that.
For him.
And then the Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne, he was on this week. Reed throwing a high fastball.
Yep.
And Trey got the bump.
Got the bump.
Came out. Look at what he did.
So I guess we're going to have him on not this week, but the following week.
I think you reach out to the Elks and be like, superstition-wise, is Trey one of those guys? Because if he is, he needs to be on our show.
Well,
and he needs to be on the show the day the quarterbacks are off.
Yeah, right. Again, which is it's good for him. He did not have to come on our show. That day is a day that quarterbacks are shut down for media, but it wasn't at practice. We were asking him to call into the show well into the afternoon, and he did. So credit to Trey Ford for doing that. Appreciate it. And you're welcome for the bump.
The EST bump. It's a real thing.
It is.
Prove it that it isn't. That's what I'll say to anyone else. Prove that it isn't. Outside of joining Hernan and Gager if you're Trey Ford. That's the thing. Actually, even Terrell Ford joined them that week, and that's when they
smoked him.
Well, he didn't have Gino got that touchdown around him. Trey threw a touchdown to Gino around Terrell, so they helped the Elks in that case.
Yeah, that's right.
That. How did your horse do?
There's the 10 there. I'm going to go. It's starting right now.
But that race, wasn't it?
No, it hasn't gone yet.
Okay. Okay. We're almost done here with the Green and Gold post-game show. It was a fun day here at Century Casino. We haven't been here for afternoons. The next game will be an evening game as it's Friday night, Argos and the Edmonton Elks. But they got great specials here. They got great food. They got the wall of TVs for all the sports that it's happening, which will include the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Chicago Blackhawks later tonight. GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas coming up at 7 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Also on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tune in, iHeartRadio, on YouTube. A reminder, there's also a GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game shows tomorrow. And when it comes to Century, you could. We only have one more game here. We're only here one more time this season. But you can join Lieutenant Eric Monday and Thursday Night Footballs right here, except this Monday. He's not going to be here for Thanksgiving Monday. But beyond that, Monday and Thursdays, Lieutenant Eric is here for Thursday Night Footballs, so you can join him for the rest of the NFL season here on Thursdays. I believe the square board is up, and you can win some great prizes. The 6 o'clocker on special. Yeah, we only have one more game. That's it here.
Gonna miss you, man.
I know it's been a nice little once-a-week hangout.
Been a good run.
We're together for many hours.
Yes.
It's like 5.5, 6 hours.
Alone.
Just the two of us.
Well, with
in
our friends. With our friends.
And then some friends join us.
I would say nasty of the year's got to be Tube Socks in terms of visits.
Ken is up there.
Ken's up
Castor,
there, too.
1990. Liquid Beaver got off to a strong start.
He had a great streak there.
It's come down a little bit. Fergie's come out a couple of times.
Mike, the Michigan fan, came out of nowhere today.
I was not expecting that one.
I pointed him out to you, and I'm like, I wonder what team
he was loaded with Michigan
from.
stuff.
And then he comes up, and he's like, "Sup, guys?"
And
of course, I thought, this must be Mike, the Michigan fan, dressed head to toe in Michigan colors.
I feel like I'm missing someone, and I apologize if I'm missing someone. For regular, we've had a lot of people show up, but in terms of the regulars, I would say right now, Ken and Tube Socks, though, are the top two. Yeah. We'll see who comes on that last game. Well, who's going to get the award? Who's going to get the Green and Gold kickoff post-game show? Most dedicated.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Castor 1990, or is it going to be
It comes with a losing race bet chit, signed by Maddie and I.
I'll keep this one and sign it. Should I give it with my old signature, the one I'm moving towards?
What do you mean? You have two signatures?
I'm trying to transition eventually to that.
Transition. That's an interesting
So
way
are you going to sign that?
Sure.
Look at that. So I'm going to save this for either Tube Socks or Ken. This is the prize for most dedicated. Down to the two of you.
Got the 10 over here at Monmouth Meadowlands.
Once that wraps up, I think we'll be wrapping up here. I think we discussed everything that needs to happen when it comes to this team. Next game, the Edmonton Elks do take on the Toronto Argonauts. That is a Friday, as I mentioned. Toronto, Edmonton. It's a 6:30 Green and Gold kickoff show. So Jay will be doing his show, and then he'll be bolting here. We'll have the Green and Gold kickoff show. We'll preview that game. Once that game ends, there will be a big discussion we'll have, I think, more so for 2025 as opposed to that game, as it will be our final game of the season, our final broadcast of the season, and there'll be a lot of question marks. And what I'm hoping to do is I might go try to figure out who all the free agents are of the Edmonton.
How do you? Do you just have to manually look at when they were signed?
Yes.
Right.
Because I did this years ago. You have to go each player and you go signs Elks. and you find the press releases, and many press releases do say they signed for X number of years, or through this season they extend.
Just no dollar value.
And no dollar, and so you have to then calculate that and then hope that it's still accurate, or you got the most recent one, or whatever it is. So I'll try to do that. I have 2 weeks to get that prepared, but in a couple of weeks we'll award our most dedicated to the green and gold kickoff shows, and then also there'll be a big discussion, as there should be, for 2025, and maybe by then we know who the president is of this club. That's 2 weeks. Maybe we know who the president is.
Hopefully.
Well, I will say the president needs to be hired before the playoffs, because you want to get a GM in place just after Grey Cup.
Sure.
Like that week after Grey Cup, you need to be announcing a GM so that they could go get the coaching staff in place so you can get going on the offseason. You don't want to be pushing that off. You can't do that without a president.
That's right.
So you need that to be done before playoffs, so that president has a couple of weeks and could go to Grey Cup and start figuring out where he wants to go with this franchise, or she wants to go with this franchise. So that's what I really hope by the time we're doing another, or our last green and gold kickoff post game of the season, we know who the president is of this. How did your race go?
To be determined. I didn't really watch the end of it.
Okay. A few final comments, and then we will wrap up. Can you guys do an Oreos flavored Coke taste test on EST this week?
What's that mean?
I think
like Oreos dipped in Coke?
Well, I think there's a Coke flavored Oreo. Or
Coke flavored Oreo?
No, Oreo flavored Coke. Oh, that's those in while he was doing the poker tournament. There was
Dipping
the Oreos.
Oreo?
No, Oreos tasted like Coke. Dusty
they were
hated
stale,
them.
though.
Dusty hated them. They said they tasted
were they
awful.
Coke flavored?
Yes, Coke flavored Oreos. He said they were awful as he was eating them. But I do want to still try them. I don't know if there's a Coke that tastes like Oreos, though.
I'm confused. I thought his Oreos were stale.
No, he had Coke Oreos. So there's a limited edition Coca-Cola Oreos.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Oreo Coca-Cola sandwich cookies.
What?
So, yeah. Ian,
are Oreos that good?
Have you never had an Oreo?
I've had, but
Oreos are delicious.
Really?
Well, they were. I haven't had one in a long time. Oreos are fantastic. Ian, I made this so I can make it to the least one. Thanks for the chat, guys. Next year, maybe more, depending on price on season, not happening at $1,000. I have heard a lot of people's ticket prices going up quite a bit, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Matt needs to collaborate with Sport Track or more, the info public. Make the info public, please. Long overdue for CFL contract tracker. That's from Adam. Yes, it is very long overdue. We should be able to have a conversation when it comes to free agencies very easily. VR Montenegro said there's both Coke-flavored Oreos and Oreos-flavored Coke. Matt, cans of Coke that taste like Oreos. I do want to try both.
Like a Coca-Cola needs more sugar in it.
It's probably the same.
I sound really old.
I do want to try both of those. Any final thoughts?
Just eyes on the prize for 2 weeks from today. Over 6.5 wins, baby.
Oh, that one. Tube Socks. Caster 1990.
Who wants it?
Who wants this more? Or is there going to be a surprise person that comes to the last one and they're not here? Who wants the signed loser by Jay and I from race 9 at Centuries Downs?
What was the name of the horse?
Neighbor.
Perfect.
Except not with a U. It's an American. No wonder it lost.
Yeah.
No wonder it lost.
Gosh darn it.
Trey Ford played well. Nick Anderson. Niles Morgan, congratulations.
Congrats.
100 yards, defensive, 100 defensive tackles on the season, and they have one more game to go. Coming up later today, as we mentioned, GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas, Sean Bell will get you set for Oilers Blackhawks. They'll also have the postgame show. There's a game tomorrow, as it's the Battle of Alberta then as well. So tune in to Edmonton Sports Talk for that. We are off on Monday for Thanksgiving Monday, but then we're back with live programming Tuesday morning, starting with the Nielsen show. Nielsen, YouTube Trev, and a mystery guest host. On Tube Socks was trying to ask me for. I'm like, do you want to be surprised? You want me to tell you? He's like, actually, I want to be surprised. So he had no guesses.
Really?
So he had no guesses because I was like, do you have a guess? I wasn't going to tell him whether he was right or wrong, and he didn't even have a guess for that. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Thanks for tuning in to the Green and Gold post-game show. Thanks to Century Casino for the miracle at Century as we did get the game on live here at Century. On behalf of Jay, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Green and Gold post-game show live right here on your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Always bet those Grays.
Always.
Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk with you on Tuesday.